In a small village nestled amidst rolling hills and lush forests, there lived a wise old woman named Elara. She was a living legend, renowned not only for her age but also for her wisdom, kindness, and boundless knowledge. Elara was a woman of stories, and her life was the most captivating tale of all. She had lived for over 8 decades, and her eyes, though clouded by time, sparkled with an unmatched wisdom. She spent her days in a quaint cottage, surrounded by dusty books, ancient artifacts, and vibrant herbs. Villagers often sought her counsel, and they'd return with their hearts full of gratitude and their spirits enlightened. One bright summer morning, a curious young boy named Oliver ventured into the village. Oliver was a restless spirit, and he had a hunger for knowledge that couldn't be quenched. He had heard tales of Elara's wisdom and was determined to seek her guidance. As he knocked on the door of the old woman's cottage, it creaked open slowly, revealing Elara seated by her fireplace, her hands gnarled and her back slightly bent. She gazed at the boy with eyes that seemed to peer into the depths of his soul. "Who are you, young one, and what brings you here?" Elara asked, her voice like a gentle, rolling brook. "I'm Oliver," the boy replied, "and I've come to learn, to seek wisdom, and to know the secrets of the world." Elara nodded and beckoned Oliver to sit by the fire. She began to weave her tales, each one imparting a valuable lesson on life, morals, and education. She told him the story of the great oak, a massive tree that had stood tall for centuries, teaching him that knowledge, like the roots of the oak, was a lifelong journey that required patience, perseverance, and nurturing. "Wisdom is not given, it is earned," she said. "It grows slowly, like the rings in the trunk of the oak." Next, Elara recounted the parable of the hummingbird and the wise owl. The tiny hummingbird had sought the wisdom of the wise old owl, asking how to find enlightenment. The owl told the hummingbird to fly to the highest peak, where it would find a vast library of knowledge. Yet, the hummingbird returned frustrated, unable to carry even a single book. The owl then smiled and said, "Wisdom is not about the quantity of knowledge but the quality of understanding." Elara stressed to Oliver that it was not enough to amass knowledge, one must understand and apply it wisely. In the days that followed, Elara shared more stories from her wellspring wisdom. She taught Oliver about kindness through the fable of about courage and the epic of a brave knight, and about humility through the tale of the ant and the grasshopper. She urged him to be compassionate, brave, and prepared for life's challenges. Oliver absorbed every word, every story, and every piece of wisdom with an insatiable hunger. He returned each day, and with each visit, he grew not only in knowledge but in character. He helped Elara with her chores, carrying wood for the fire and tending to her garden, for he had learned that knowledge without action was meaningless. Years passed, and Oliver became a young man, his heart and mind enriched by the teachings of the wise old woman. He had grown not only in knowledge but in character, and he had become a respected figure in the village, known for his wisdom and kindness. One day, as Oliver sat with Elara, her voice weak but her eyes as sharp as ever, he asked, "What is the most important lesson you have to offer?" Elara smiled, her eyes filled with a twinkle of satisfaction. The most important lesson, my dear Oliver, is that the journey of learning never ends. And wisdom, like the river that winds through our village, flows eternally. It is a gift that keeps giving, not only to oneself but to those who share it. With those words, Elara closed her eyes and took her last breath. Oliver was left with a heart full of gratitude for the wise old woman who had shaped his life. He knew he could never repay her, but he could honor her memory by sharing the wealth of wisdom she had bestowed upon him. And so, Oliver continued to visit the village, just as Elara had, imparting her stories and lessons to eager young minds. The legacy of the wise old woman lived on, and the village became a beacon of enlightenment and compassion, thanks to the enduring wisdom of Elara and her dedicated student, Oliver. The bond between them, forged through stories and lessons, had become a bridge connecting generations, and the village thrived, illuminated by the eternal light of wisdom.